Hi everybody, it's Dr. Kerry Yerkew here, and thank you for joining me for this free webinar called From Couch to 5K. And we had tickets available for this webinar on Eventbrite, on our website, as well as we're streaming live on Instagram and YouTube right now. So thank you for joining me today. My name is Dr. Kerry Yerkew. I'm a marathon runner. I've done over 20 events. Today I brought out this medal, which is the 2022 Vancouver Marathon. And this was a really fun event. When we did have a delay getting started, so over 45 minutes we were delayed at the start. So you never know how a race is going to go. But once we got started, the race was excellent. It was beautiful in Vancouver, and it was one of my best races of 2022. I started on the couch, and I'm going to tell you about my journey today of how I got started running, and then how I got into my first 5K, 10K, half marathon, and full marathon. And so thank you for joining me today, and I'll get going with some of the slides here in our presentation. So stay till the end, because I do have a special offer for you. So if you're interested in participating in our group, if you want more information, if you do want some one-on-one coaching, it is something that I'll be offering you towards the end, so please stick with me. And the reason I'm doing this webinar today is to help motivate people to get out and run. It's one of the healthier things you can do, contrary to what some people say. But more and more research is coming out saying that the more active we are, the healthier we're going to be. And of course, there's a right and a wrong way to do that. So I want to touch on that today. I want you to have good information, because I know what it's like to not have good information, to be kind of in the dark and searching the web or maybe YouTube for information, and sometimes you can get information that's not accurate. So it's always best to consult with somebody who's an expert in the field, somebody who's done what you want to do, who's been there and done that. So today I'm going to touch on a few of those things. Now, my qualifications, I've been a runner for over 20 years now. And I got started with a roommate of mine, and I'll tell you about that in a second. I've done over 20 marathons. Last year was really a banner year for me, where I did 4 marathons. This year it looks like I'm going to do 4 again. And I'll be doing my first one in Europe this year. So it'll be in Madrid in April. And then I'll be doing San Diego, Salt Lake City, and it looks like Tampa Bay is the other one. So those will be my marathons, but that can change as the year goes on. Once you're in good shape and you're running on a regular basis, then participating in an event is easy. It's easy to sign up for it. The first one is hard, and the first few marathons can be difficult, especially if you're changing distances or you want to do a better time or whatever your goals are. It can be a challenge, but now that when you're running a lot and you're kind of used to it and you're in condition and good shape, it's easy to sign up for a marathon and just and go do that. So I've done all the distances. I know what it's like, and we're going to talk about 5Ks today, and going from sedentary, being on the couch, to doing your first 5K. Just a disclaimer, what I talk about today may not be suitable for your specific condition. So always check with an expert or a health professional before you start something new. Like I said, at the end, I'll give you an opportunity to get some one-on-one coaching with me, and I can always direct you to someone in your area that can help you, that would be well qualified to assist you in the challenges that you have. So my story, I was an athlete as a child, but not a good one. I was overweight. I was very ambitious. I played every sport basically, but really was at a disadvantage because of how fast I grew and how heavy I was. And I was kind of slow, so that made it challenging. I think if I would have been in better shape as a child, I would have been a much better athlete. But over time, I have improved. And when I went away to Toronto to chiropractic college, I came back and then I got an apartment with one of my high school classmates, and he was an excellent runner, and he won many events. I just was a natural at running, and he'd often say to me, you know, Carrie, do you want to go out for a run? And so I said, sure. So we'd go out for runs primarily, sometimes a bike ride, but he would teach me techniques. You know, he said, do you want to learn some things that I've learned along the way in high school from track? And I said, sure, you know. So he taught me many of the techniques that I use today. And so I'm very grateful for that time. And I entered the first event actually with him to do a marathon. And that was a lot of fun. And I still go back to Manitoba to run the marathon in Winnipeg. I did that last year. I'll go every couple years to back to where I first started. So I kind of got the bug at that time. I really wanted to do more marathons. And since then, most years I've done marathons, but there's been a few years where I've missed, and mostly because I had children or raising a family, or some other distractions in my life, and that's okay too. So today I want you to have 3 things you can take away. I want you to know how you can get started in running. I want you to know the gear you need to run, and I want you to have a training plan to get started and sign up for your first race. So how do you get started? Well, it all starts with a dream. So you're here because you have a dream and you do want to run, and that's where it all starts. And then you have to take action. And one of the best things you can do for taking action is to sign up for an event. Now, a question I get quite often is, how far in the future should I sign up for an event? I would say 6 months is a perfect time frame. So look 6 months ahead on your calendar, find an event, preferably in your area. It makes it easier. You don't want to have to travel or stay overnight for your first marathon. So choose an event in your area, sign up for it, and do the shortest distance, 5K. And do the family run, you know, whatever they offer. And then once you sign up, then you know you have to do that event. So it's kind of the end goal. And then you can start to fill in the time from now until then. So that's a perfect way to get started. Then for training, what should you do for training? Well, intervals are a good way to get started with training. So let's say you're out of shape like I was, and you just want to get going. Well, how do you do that? You don't want to run a long distance immediately. So you want to start slow. So just get a pair of running shoes. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then get out and walk. And then set a timer on your watch. You know, maybe every minute on your watch you want to have a beep, and then or look at your watch, and then you want to do a light jog for about 5 seconds, and then walk for the next 60 seconds. So on the minute, every minute, do about 5 seconds of light jog. And as you get good at that, start to extend the period from 5 seconds up to about 10 seconds, and then go up to 15 and 20 seconds. And you get the idea. It could take a few weeks for you to get up to running consistently, but that's how I did it. And you want to start with about 20 minutes. So getting out for a 10 to 20 minute walk to start, and then later you can get into a longer run, longer distance. So, you know, eventually you want to get up to 30 to 45 minutes, like once a week. And that would put you in a good place to be able to do a 5K in 6 months. And then you want to take a break between training days. So at the beginning, I would say every other day you want to go out for a walk 3 to 4 times a week, and then rest in between, because you want your body to recuperate, and that's just as important as the training. And we'll talk about that in a second. So another question I get is, what kind of form and posture should I have? And being a chiropractor, I know a lot about posture and form. So the posture of your body should be relaxed. It should be upright. Let's use this as an example right here. So you should be upright, relaxed. One thing when you get started with running is make sure your arms and your legs are pointed forward. It sounds silly, but sometimes runners kind of have a sway to them, right to left, or they rotate a lot. So just with your posture, have your arms close to your sides, your elbows in, and your arms going straight ahead forwards. And the arms kind of lead the body, they pump the body forward. And then the legs pointed forward with your strike of your foot, not so much on the heel, but a little bit more on the midfoot, and then push off on the toe. So you just want to have a little bit, you could have a little bit of a slight forward lean to your posture. That would be okay. Not too much, just a slight forward lean so that your midfoot is striking and then you're pushing off on the toes. Not too much of a heel strike. And especially at the beginning, that can cause too much shock to the shins and something like shin splints or plantar fasciitis like heel spurs can develop. So we just don't want to see that. The cadence is the pace. So you want to have quick feet at the beginning, just like fast feet, short strides. It's the least stressful on the body. So short strides, fast feet. If your watch tracks cadence, you can see how many steps a minute that you're taking. And then, like I said, the direction should be straight ahead forwards. You want to avoid any uneven surfaces at the beginning, potholes, trails that have a lot of roots or rocks. You want as little distraction and obstacle as possible when you first start to run. As far as the shoes and the gear, it should match the terrain that you're running on. If you're on a hard surface like a street or a path that's paved, a more flexible shoe is good. So one that has better flexibility, very easy to bend when you go into the store, and one that has very form-fitting for your foot, a little bit of space in the toes, a little bit of space on the sides, so it's not too tight. And then you want to just run it. You want to feel good about that shoe and not any uneven posture to your foot inside the shoe. Recently, I had to go and buy some shoes, and I tried a few different ones on. And when I was standing on them, I could feel the ridges inside the shoes. Not a good idea to be buying shoes where you could really feel the prominent ridge, because it'll probably bother you. So just try different shoes, talk to the salesperson, maybe get a health professional to check your feet, and then get the right shoes for running. If you're on trails or more uneven surfaces, a firm shoe that has a stiffer sole and stiffer support for the heels is good, because you might be getting more twist to your foot. And you want them to be comfortable, because if you're running 10, 20, 30, 40 kilometers a week, you want to make sure that you have good shoes, because they're very important. As far as goals go, you want to know what your final distance is. So let's say you're signing up for a 5K. I would say with a 5K distance, you want to get to 80 to 90% of your goal by the end of the training period. And this goes for 10K, this goes for 21, and especially when you get up to like 42K, the full marathon. You don't want to go training runs the full distance. Once you get up to around 90% of the distance, what you want to do is you want to end your training right around there, 7 to 14 days before the event. So if you're running, let's say a half marathon, 21K, you want to get up to around 18 or 19K 1 to 2 weeks before the event. So then once you have that in mind, you can set up your training runs from now until then. So let's say you do choose 3 months or 6 months until your event. Then you know how many weeks it is, and you want to build up your training. Now, the way to gradually work up your training runs is you want to be running every other day, so 3 to 4 times a week. And what I like to do is 2 shorter training runs. I would say if you're just starting to run, 1, 2, 3K. So just a shorter training run twice a week. And then on the weekend, I do a longer training run. So maybe that's where you want to stretch it out a little bit and eventually get to that 90% of your goal distance by 2 weeks before. Okay, so if you have any questions, please type in the chat and I'd be happy to answer that for you. That's really important. Now, hydration and recovery is just as important as training. So on the off days, you want to recuperate. Yesterday, I went to this running athlete spa and they had these compressions leggings, and you put these leggings on and that compresses your leg and it pushes the lactic acids out of your muscles and back to your heart. So I really found that beneficial. That was helpful. It's the first time I've tried these compression devices for my legs. Compression socks are good for recovery, so you might want to buy a light compression sock. In the clinic, we have 3 different compression firmness to the socks, but you might want to just get light ones off the shelf to help you with recovery days. Drink lots of water. So make sure you drink water first thing in the morning when you get up. And that's what I did today. And I use electrolyte tablets like this one called the Noon Electrolyte Tablet. And this one has a black cap because it has caffeine in it. So depending on your tolerance for caffeine, I can have caffeine early in the day, no problem. So I take one of these pucks out, I put it in water first thing, as soon as I wake up. And so I'll put a puck in the water. I don't like this flavor. It's ginger and lemonade. I don't really like it. I'm not going to buy this flavor again, but I do like this product. So find a flavor you like. The Noon products are excellent. And then put a puck in your water first thing in the morning. And then I always have one before bed, but a non-caffeinated one. And that's just a standard thing that I do every day, just to keep my water, my hydration, and electrolytes up. Of course, you want to drink water throughout the day. You don't want to overdo it, but just keep yourself well hydrated. And a good metric is when you go to the bathroom, your urine should be straw colored versus too yellow. The one exception is if you're taking B vitamins, your urine may be bright yellow. So just keep that in mind as well. And then rest. I put this picture up on my slide because you want to rest in between runs, and that might involve taking a nap. Definitely want to get 8 hours of sleep. And you want your body to rest and recuperate. You also want your brain to rest and recuperate, because if it's something new, you'll be trying to figure things out, and sometimes it's really taxing on your brain too to make a plan and stick to it. Now, if you want to know more, I am available to answer your questions. You can type them in the chat here on YouTube or the comment section on Instagram. I'd be happy to answer your questions. But if you do want to know more, I'm offering 25% off a consultation. And so if you want to talk one-on-one, I am taking some new clients in my coaching program. And I'm just going to put the link in the chat right here on YouTube. So you can click on that link and you can go right over to booking that 20-minute consult. If you're on Instagram, go to the link in the bio, click on that, and then go to initial consultation. Now, the other thing is I am also hosting a masterclass. And if you want to take the masterclass, it expands more on what we talked about today. So click on the link I just put in the show notes in the chat or in the bio, and you can go over and take our masterclass. Now, the masterclass talks about all these concepts, but more in depth. So you're going to get really good information. It's a self-study, so you can take one module at a time, and there's 5 modules. So you should be able to do this over a 5-week period. And if you're just getting started with training, perfect. Do this masterclass over the 5-week period. If you're not already following me, please follow me on social media. I'm at True North PM on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook. So please join us. And then also we're on YouTube. So a lot of these webinars get recorded. I do them on Saturdays primarily, but we've tried different days and times. But subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast. And our podcast comes out on all the popular podcast channels. We do it on Anchor, which is owned by Spotify. And then we also have it going to Apple iTunes and Google. So you can get the podcast on those channels. in case you miss a webinar, or during the week, sometimes I post shorter videos, shorter audio, just to give you tips on training. Now, don't get confused, because True North also does help professionals in other areas. So we help healthcare professionals with their careers. We help writers that are aspiring to write a book, because I've written books. So you're going to get some running training on our social media channels and on our YouTube channel, but you're also going to get some other information too. Just if you're a runner, take the running information and go with it. If you guys have any questions, please type them in the chat. I'd be happy to answer those before I go. I really want to thank you guys for joining me today. Please sign up for future webinars. You can get a ticket on Eventbrite or directly on our website. And I hope you guys enjoy your training. You're having a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.